And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, a real estate and finance expert, and goes to bat for you every day as your consumer advocate. Your host, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again, another day committed to picking a fight with the mainstream media and providing you the timely truth centered around real estate, credit, finance, estate planning, publishing, and so much more. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show, where our number one goal is to educate, entertain, enlighten, and engage in an effort to help you win in any marketplace.
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
Now, I want you to pull out your smartphone and save our Consumer Advocate hotline number in your phone. It's 813-917-1894.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
813-917-1894. Don't forget our number. We also want you to bookmark realestateradiotampa.com. That's our website, blog site, a plethora of information available there at realestateradiotampa.com. You can click on the live stream link and watch all of our shows live as we are in studio here. We have the cameras here as well. And also you can click on the Expert Contributors tab, and you can see all of our 80-plus show partners now with our two shows. We have the Real Estate Quarterback Show, more real estate-centric, finance, estate planning, tax planning, mortgage advice. And we also have the Consumer Quarterback brand, which is more health, wealth, nutrition, lifestyle, and recreation related. And we have over 80 partners now with the show, all in Tampa Bay as a number one consumer advocate here to help you win no matter what you're facing. We don't care if you're climbing a corporate ladder or if you throw a ladder in your truck on the way to work. This show's for you. We want to help you win. We also have an interesting story in the headlines here. Tampa teacher heading to Olympics for the sixth time. This from the WFLA record here. And also in studio, let's go around the horn here, make our introductions. First up, Tara Richter, back in studio, Richter Publishing.
Yep, good to be in. Today we're going to talk about some interesting things that Barnes & Noble are doing to keep their doors open, and 5 summer writing tips.
Excellent. Love it. And also in studio, Mr. Bob Brumm, the Positive Perspective. Welcome in, sir.
Thank you, Brandon. Today it's going to be an interesting concept. Going to be talking about the positive perspective and some positive attitude and how it helps you to take action towards goals, not only as a person, but as a business owner as well. That's
right. Yeah, I love it. You know, last week I had my stylist coach in studio. Now I've got my speaking coach here in studio. As you know, I'm a published author and a professional speaker as well. And Bob is helping me through that journey. And, you know, it's Intelligent Talk Radio. We got some intelligent folks here in studio. And this segment is brought to you by my health team, consisting of Ray Milton with Ray's Vegan Soul, where I'll hit you with the flavor. That's Ray's tagline. Ray Milton with Ray's Vegan Soul. He cooks these awesome meals, organic, vegan-style meals that you can carry with you in your vehicle. That way you're not running in and out of these fast food restaurants when you get hungry. And also Michael Vogt. He's an expert massage therapist here in Tampa Bay with Back in Health Massage. He's the owner of Back in Health Massage, located on Gun Highway, corner of Gun Highway and Del Mabry there. And he's voted top 10 massage services in Tampa Bay by the Tampa Bay Business Journal's Best in the Biz Awards. Is Michael Vogt, expert massage therapist here in Tampa Bay. So we want you to check out our Expert Contributors tab, give these folks a call, support the show, support these folks. And, you know, what else do you have in this life if you don't have your health? So, you know, I really appreciate my health team out there helping me stay fit and high energy. You know, so much high energy now that I'm eating Ray Milton, his awesome food that he supplies. Great food, where I'll hit you with the flavor is his tagline. So we also have an open house going on Sunday. It's 9802 Wood Bay Drive, Tampa, and 33626. It's in the West Chase subdivision here in Tampa Bay community. It's got a private pool, and it's also 4 bedrooms, 2-bath property here, over 1,800 square feet, listed at $369,000, is 9802 Wood Bay Drive in Tampa. And 4-bedroom, 2-bath property, completely upgraded, all the upgrades that you want. Open house on Sunday. This property is going to get multiple offers, highest and best, I'm almost certain. And 9802 Wood Bay Drive, great buying opportunity. Also, by the way, you know, it reminds me of an awesome story I saw last week. West Chase was voted top out of the United States of America as the #1 community to live in for families. So
Wow.
awesome. Lots to offer there.
Yeah, I like West Chase. I used to work out there.
It's awesome. You got all the foods, you got the tennis, you got the golf, you got the awesome trails to walk and jog.
I'm from Omaha, Nebraska, and that is the only neighborhood in Florida that reminds me of Omaha, Nebraska.
What does it remind you? What?
It's just like it's a really homey feel. Like in Nebraska, like our crime rate's low.
Yep.
Our education is really good. The public schools are great. You don't have to send your kids to private schools.
Right.
It's a very comfortable, family type feeling, and that's what I always get when I go to West Chase. I feel like I'm back home.
Yeah, I love it. I love getting listings in there. They don't last long. It's a beautiful property. So, we're here in studio live from iHeartRadio, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. right here. It's your most important hour on the radio every day of the week, Monday through Friday. Also have a show on the weekends on 102.5 The Bone, and we got a plethora of information available on our YouTube channel. Check us out on Facebook.com/REQB show as well. So let's go ahead and jump right into it, Tara. Tara Richter, Richter Publishing, back in studio, talking about these summer writing tips today, and we're also talking about Barnes & Noble serving alcohol now. So.
Yeah, it was like CNN Money came out like the other week that they're going to start testing some stores, not all of them, but serving alcohol. So I'm assuming it's like beer and wine. They're not going to have like, I think, a full bar.
Shots.
That would be really interesting. But it's honestly, I think it's kind of a desperate attempt to keep their doors open because, Borders, they went out of business. Books A Million, they went out of business. And it's sad because I love the bookstores. I'm obviously, like a book geek because I've written 10 of my own. And when I had what I like to call a real job, I would love to go there on my lunch break, get a book, have a coffee, and flip through it.
Yep.
But unfortunately, in today's society, that's just gone to the wayside.
Yeah.
With the digital books, the Kindles, Amazon, everybody is downloading,
Audio.
buying stuff. Yeah, the audio books. People are getting groceries shipped to their front door. They're not even going to the grocery store anymore.
Yeah.
So I hate to say it, but I don't think it's going to work.
It's a different world we live in. It definitely, there's no two ways about it. What I would think if I was a CEO of that company, I would start thinking about ways of combination of services. How can we maybe co-brand, with a Starbucks or co-brand with, you name it. But, that's what is winning nowadays is the combination of services. But, yeah, great point. I love the audiobooks. I'm always on an audiobook.
I have an audiobook that's out there on, on Amazon, How to Write a Book in 4 Weeks, and it's only $4. Wow. So, anybody can, throw down $4 and figure out how to write their book in 4 weeks. But, an interesting idea, just like thinking outside the box, is if they had maybe an area where people could go and listen to audiobooks there, and so if people don't have the devices or they don't want to get the iPod or they don't understand, you could just sit and download to the computer and listen.
Yep.
Or they could even have iPads where people could like maybe rent a Kindle book and read it without having to buy the device.
Right.
And that would bring people in, but it would still keep the whole bookstore atmosphere instead of turning it into a bar.
Yeah. or right? Maybe do
and
both.
or.
Let's see. But yeah, it is kind of sad. The old traditional having the book in the hand. For the Barnes and Nobles at least. But hey, bringing alcohol in there potentially. Let's see what happens.
It'll be interesting to find out. But I do have 5 summer writing tips for people. If they're out there writing their book, summer is a great time to utilize spare time. Because basically it's really time that you need to write your book.
Yep.
So if you're on vacations, you're waiting in the airports, your flight's delayed, or maybe you have like a 5-hour plane trip to go somewhere. What you want to do is you can utilize technology to actually sit down and write some of your chapters out. So I have one of my favorite little things here is this Bluetooth keyboard. You can get them for like $50 at Walmart. And, because when you're on an airplane and somebody puts their seat back in front of you and you have that tray goes into your stomach, and it's really hard to get a laptop and you're trying to type. But with this, it's so cool because you can have your phone and you get a little stand for like $1. You prop your phone up or your iPad or whatever, put it in some notepad setting, put the Bluetooth on, and just type away.
Wow. Cool.
And it's amazing. Like my second book, I wrote completely using this.
Yeah, hold that up for the
right
camera.
Here.
For those of you watching our live stream, she's holding it up. It's, what is it, an iHome?
Yeah, iHome, just Bluetooth keyboard. I'm missing one of them. You can see how much I wrote on it. I like tore it right off. But it was funny. I was on an airplane once doing this, and there was this older couple next to me, and I'm just jamming away. I got my, listening to the music, typing away, and they just kept staring at me. And I'm like, I know they want to ask what I'm doing. So finally, I'm like, do you want to know what this is? And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm an author. I'm writing a book. And they're like, wow.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is, as soon as you get, onto the ground, you get Wi-Fi, you can email yourself that notepad. Cool. And then, when you get the email, then you copy and paste it into Word. I can write 2 or 3 chapters, which is anywhere about like 5,000 words.
Yeah.
Sitting on an airplane with a couple hours.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. And one thing that works for me also is, maybe not work on an airplane because you're, different scenario, but it's just a talk and type feature. Then you just go back and edit it. There's going to be some mistakes. But yeah, hey, that's great content here. We're talking with Tara Richter, Richter Publishing, on ways that you can grow your sphere of influence by writing your own book. She's got 5 summer writing tips. We're going to come into that after this first break. And we're also going to touch on Tampa teacher heading to the Olympics for the 6th time. Find out about this really cool physical education teacher here in Tampa Bay. And we're going to hear from Bob Brumm, the positive perspective. He's speaker, author, encouragement engineer. So stay with us. The best is yet to come. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show and realestateradiotampa.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Real Estate Quarterback Show, owner of Platinum MVP Realty and a top listing agent here in Tampa Bay, featured in Florida Realtor Magazine multiple times, recognized for innovations with marketing, helping our sellers profit more on the sale of their real estate properties. And we are in a severe lack of inventory market here in Tampa Bay. So if you're a seller out there potentially thinking about selling, if you're on the fence, if you thought about it, we'd love to offer you a free valuation on your home and let you know what the value is. Maybe it might be a good time to make that move, especially with the Brexit just happening. The mortgage rates took another dip of already low, 30 to 40-year low interest rates. So it's a great time to make that move. And this segment is brought to you by the Maids Cleaning Service. They do a great job cleaning our real estate properties, and that's 24-hour, 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Giving a shout-out to the Maids Cleaning Service. They are referred for a reason. And we're back here in studio live from iHeartRadio, beautiful South Tampa, Florida here, where it's sunny and 75 most of the time. We're talking about a real estate listing here. I've got a hot beach property just hit the market. I want to go ahead and pitch it here for you. It's 13235 Gulf Boulevard, number 409 in Madeira Beach. Now, this is $239,000 for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath property. It's got a community pool. It's a condo-tel right across the street from the beach, right on Gulf Boulevard. It's 13235 Gulf Boulevard, number 409, Madeira Bay Resort Condo, and literally steps across the beach, across the Gulf Boulevard, and you're on the beautiful beaches of Madeira Beach. All right, we're back here in studio. I'm Brandon Rhymes, your host. We're talking with Tara Richter of Richter Publishing. Also, we're going to hear from Bob Brumm, the positive perspective. He's my speaking coach, helping me with my speaking career, and also does keynote speaking and coaching as well. He's an author, encouragement engineer as well. Going to have the positive perspective coming from Bob Brumm here soon as well. Let's go back to Tara. I wanted to get those 5 summer writing tips from you.
Yep, we got 4 more. So the second one is if you don't, if you're not really into technology, you don't really like the whole like writing on your iPad or whatever, then carry an idea pad with you. I have both. I have my keyboard and my phone and this.
Nice.
Because sometimes I like to actually physically write, with pen and paper. So basically when you travel and you have downtime, it inspires creativity. Anytime you're not in the normal day-to-day of things, your 9-to-5 grind or whatever, you're always going to have ideas that are going to spark creativity.
Yeah.
So you always want to jot those down as soon as possible.
Let me pause on that one because that's in a lot of the books I'm reading. I'm sure Bob can comment on this as well. Is it's all about you have that idea, but I think as Les Brown talks about, most of the ideas go to the graveyard with that holder. They never get them out. And you look at shows like Shark Tank and these different shows where when that idea is there and you don't jot it down, and you just think, oh, well, I'll remember that when I come back, it could be gone forever.
Exactly. So you want to stop whatever you're doing. Sometimes even if you're driving and you have a brilliant idea, pull over on the side of the road, write it down so we're safe.
Thank you for that tip.
Yes, be safe, pull over, or sometimes actually when I'm on the treadmill, that's when I get a lot of ideas because you're exercising, your endorphins are pumping. And so I'll just write it on my phone, and I'll email it to myself. So when I get back to the office, it's there. I'm not going to forget it. And when we're talking about writing down these ideas, don't do like checking for spelling, grammar, whatever.
Right.
It might be gobbledygook, but it doesn't matter. As long as you're getting it out of your head and onto paper, you have that idea. It's the editor's job to clean it up.
Yeah,
not yours.
Because then you're not looping your mind. What happens is with our minds, the way it works is you're going to be looping back to that idea when you're wasting basically energy, mental energy by doing that.
Exactly. And when you go from the right brain to the left brain, from the creativity to the logical, it stops the creative flow. So you never want to edit while you're writing. You just let it flow out, and then you go back and you edit.
Good point.
So, okay, number 3 is if you have some spare time over the summer, start a blog. Because what you can do is blog 2 to 3 days a week. Blog should only be about 400 to 500 words. So as you're doing these short little bits of information, A, you're making it easier for yourself. B, you're getting it out into the world and on Google. And then you're starting to build a fan base. So what you can do is write teasers of your book.
Yeah.
And then at the end of every blog, be like, hey, this is going to come out in, fall of whatever, 2016, 2017. But getting that blog out there, it helps you organize it. Short bits of pieces of information, teasers to gain followers.
Building SEO as well.
Exactly. So tip number 4 is say you're in a car ride and you have, a big family and you're, got a 10-hour drive and you got the kids in the car. Well, what you can do is make a game. Now, this may be a little bit better for like fictional type stories, but it could work either way. And so what you do is you make a game with the family in the car and everybody starts putting the story together. So I don't know if you guys ever did this before, but it's like, okay, Sally went to work, and the next person's like, at work she did this, the next person's like, and then this happened, and then she encountered this problem, and you tell the story as you go around in the car. So you're making it a game, with the family, and once again, you're just being fun and you're being creative, but that's going to spark ideas. You may come up with something. So what you can do is, get out your smartphone, put on the voice recorder, record it. So, if you guys get some golden nuggets during it, you can go back and reference that.
And you'll probably get one less of those. Are we there yet? Right.
Exactly. And then, you're getting your kids engaged. You're getting them creative. They're having more fun. And then, it's a family interactive kind of thing.
Offer money for great ideas, too. It always helps.
There you go.
Exactly. That works, too. And the last tip I have is actually reading more. So when you're at the pool, when you're at the lake house, whatever, buy more books and read more. Because the more that you read, the more that it's going to spark ideas, about the kind of book that you're trying to read write. So the one thing that I do, if I'm getting creative blocks, I'll actually go out and buy a book about overcoming creative blocks. Because then, I'm reading, I'm getting their tips, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a great idea. And then all of a sudden, maybe halfway through, you're like, okay, I'm good. And then you can get back to actually, writing your book.
Yeah, I love it. The world we live in, it's so easy to access these books. It's so easy to have these, podcasts. If you're interested in a certain category of learning, and to be a constant learner, that's the key. Is you're always going to be upgrading your skills. If you look at it, whatever age you're at this point in your life, you've developed and built your knowledge and skills, abilities to get to this point to basically create your earning income capacity. And then it's up to you to have that perspective, to have the self-discipline to follow through and make it happen. So let's go ahead and bring Bob Brumm into the conversation, the positive perspective speaker, author, encouragement engineer. Welcome in.
Hey, thank you, Brandon. Appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure, man.
Well, today what I want to talk about is that idea of having a positive perspective. If any of you have turned on the news lately, maybe you've heard a couple things. We're watching some CNN clips right on the studio here.
Yep.
There's not a whole lot of positive things that come across this scenario. And just turning on the news this weekend, there was Saturday morning, there was 4 auto accidents, big here in Tampa, that hit. And they were fatalities. So they hit you with these things right off the bat.
Yep.
And these get inundated through us throughout the day. You get in the car, you drive to work, you sit in the traffic, and you hear the traffic report about the traffic accident. You're sitting in the traffic up.
Yeah.
So why do we do that to ourselves? Why are we continually feeding ourselves this bad news? We need to keep that out of our system. We need to look at things a little more positively. Things are going to happen in life. I lost my mother at an early age. I lost her when I was 6 years old. Same year, I lost my grandmother. The Christmas day of that year, I lost my grandfather. I've been in funeral homes many holidays in our family.
Yep.
The point is, these are going to happen, life and death situations, but we also need to look at that and see what we can do with it. I learned from those events, I'm here for a purpose, and that purpose is to show people, maybe encourage people that things aren't so bad sometimes, that there are things we can look at to turn that around, to make a positive out of it. We're going to run into situations and have situations in our life that things happen. People will hit our car. People will damage our property. People will call us names. How can we learn from that? We can learn to be better people. We can learn to be better drivers. We can slow down. We can pull off the road, like you said, when you have a thought, and write it down. Don't try to write it on the pad as you're driving.
Or text it.
Yeah, right, exactly. And how many times go past how many cars and people are driving with their phones up at the top of the steering wheel and they're texting.
Yep.
Let's be safe. Let's focus on the positive of this. Let's get home in one piece. Let's, see our kids another day. And let's be nice to each other as well as ourselves. So many times we're going to go through events in our life and say, oh, I shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yep.
Forget the shoulda, coulda, woulda. Forget the fear. Forget the past. We can't forget the past, but we can learn from it.
Right.
Just like a rearview mirror. We're not going to focus on the rearview mirror when we're driving.
Yep.
We reference it. We need to reference our past, not focus on it.
Right.
And we can look at the opportunities in front of us like the windshield. It's 60 times larger than a rearview mirror. And we need to focus on those positive ideas in our life, those opportunities we may have. It may be that we learned from something we said that we shouldn't have said. And okay, I won't say that again, or I got to go apologize now. And be accountable for what those actions are. I'm sorry is a good phrase to have. And people need to realize sometimes, we're not perfect.
Yep.
None of us walk on water that I can see.
Yep.
And, we need to be cognizant of that and know that we're going to learn from what we've done, what we experience, and how to proceed further in our life in a positive manner.
Yeah, absolutely. Knowledge is a combination of experience and reflection. So you want to reflect back, you want to look back and kind of think about things that may have happened. But, if it's something that you can't change, learn from it, let it go, move forward, and focus on the positive and focus on your power of your present moment. The things that you can do right now in the present moment to move you forward, the power of self-discipline. And we're going to talk more about those types of strategies with Mr. Bob Brumm here, the positive perspective. He's a speaking coach and a keynote speaker here in Tampa Bay, and also more from Tara Richter with Richter Publishing. And stay with us. We're also going to touch on this story. Tampa teacher heading to the Olympics for the 6th time. Really cool story. So stay with us. The best is yet to come. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show. We'll be right back.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Real Estate Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP Realty. This segment is brought to you by Electric Today. Give a shout out to Manny Polizzi over at Electric Today. And they do electrical and air conditioning work in existing homes and businesses. For all of your electrical and air conditioning needs, call Electric Today. Service without delay. I want to remind you, all of our expert contributors are found at realestateradiotampa.com. Just click on the expert contributors tab there, and you'll see all their contact information at realestateradiotampa.com, as well as our hotline. We want you to save our hotline number in your phone because at some point you may need it. It's 813-917-1894.
Welcome to my house.
Save that number in your phone because at some point you're going to need it, and we're going to help you win no matter what you're facing. We got our property of the month here. We got 414 South Royal Palm Way in Tampa. It's in Beach Park, 33609 Beach Park subdivision, 4 bedrooms, 3 full bath, 2 half bath, over 4,800 square foot living area in this beautiful property, and it's listed at $1.195 million. Is 414 South Royal Palm. Also have a second listing in Beach Park right now. We've got 4618 West Beach Park Drive in Tampa, Florida, 33609. This one is 4 bedrooms, 3 full bath, 1 half bath, and over 2,550 square feet, listed at $799. Just hit the market at like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Beautifully upgraded, well done home, and great buying opportunity for you here in Tampa Bay. Take advantage of these low rates and things happening in the Tampa Bay marketplace. So before the break, we were talking with Bob Brumm, The Positive Perspective, and he's a speaker, author, encouragement engineer, and he helps groups encouragement for positive action. So what else are you seeing out there, Bob?
Oh, well, basically, one of the other things I want to touch on is that idea of taking action. And you mentioned that a little bit, Tara, on the idea of writing down your thoughts. Well, I did that with a couple books that I've done as well. One of them is the values from the man who gave me my name. And that was thoughts about how my father raised me. Because I'm a little bit different. I was raised by a man that was a World War II vet. Okay, he had kids that were older, and then all of a sudden my brother and I came along as a surprise. Here you go. So he was 62 when I was 18.
Wow.
Okay, so there was a different values that I learned that most people my age don't learn. So I thought that was important to do that. Take the action, write it down, get it into a format. The other one is the idea of power of knowledge. You mentioned your knowledge is growth, and what you do up in your life now is a collection of your knowledge. And so I wrote that idea, the power of knowledge, is building on the knowledge you've learned. We've all learned a lot of things, and I often talk to students and college kids about this. We've learned something our whole lives, and it's stuck with us. And I ask them, I say, well, sing it with me. A, B, C, and they, oh, yeah. And I said, if you put those together, what do you form? And they say, and you help them out, words, and words together form sentences. And the same thing in our life. When we build our education, that makes us a better, more valuable person.
Right.
And I think in doing that, you need, like you mentioned before, the D word, discipline.
Yep.
You need that discipline to take action. You've had a lot of discipline in your life through sports.
Right.
You need that to do what you want to do. And Terry, you probably get that as well. A lot of discipline, it takes discipline to sit on a plane and write out a book, to take your spare time and actually do something with it. And our society needs to remember that. We need to take action in our spare time as well, and that means discipline. And being accountable for those actions, that's important. When you say you're going to call somebody at 11 o'clock, don't call them at 11:05. Don't call them at 11:10. Oops, I'm sorry, my bad, I forgot. No, you call them at 11 o'clock.
Yep.
Be accountable for what you say you're going to do. That builds your credibility. That builds your value. If you're building your value as a person, people want to do business with you. People want to do things with you, want you to be part of their association, their life, their companies.
Yeah.
And as a company, I think it's important. I think a lot of people, especially down here in Florida, I see a lot of it for some reason. When you ask a contractor to come to your house, no matter what the industry is, okay, can you be here at 10 o'clock? 10 o'clock means anywhere from 10 to 10:30. I won't, sometimes we've all had experiences with a cable company. They give you a pretty large window, and it's not they'll get there at that time. They get there in that range.
Yeah.
Let's narrow that down a bit.
Yeah.
Okay, we're all busy. How many times have you gone to the doctor's office, and it's a 10 o'clock appointment, and you're there till 10:45 waiting for the doctor to come in the room? No, they take you back into another room, and you think you're getting service, but you're not.
Yep.
Let's be accountable for what we do.
Yeah.
That means a lot to a customer. When you say you're going to be there at 1 o'clock, you're there at 1 o'clock. I had that experience recently, and the person said they were going to be at our house at 1 o'clock. He was there at 1 o'clock.
Yep.
And had his card out, had all his credential information, so you knew it was who he said it was going to be, that he was there. And it was great, a great experience.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing that we want to make sure we do in our business and our personal lives, so that we show people we're really who we are. And we want to show that credibility to people. I think that's important for ourselves and our society.
Oh, absolutely it is. And you see more and more of that needed in society. You see that. If you just joined us, you're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes, and we're talking with Bob Brumm, The Positive Perspective. He's a speaking coach here in Tampa Bay. And, Bob, a couple things came to mind. We talked about is the mother of all skill is repetition. So when you're learning knowledge, the example you gave with the ABCs, it's all about repetition. It's all about immersing yourself in whatever you want to learn. And the power of positive thinking, Napoleon Hill, those are kind of the fundamental that we build our businesses on.
It is, and it's interesting you mentioned that, the Napoleon Hill, because that was his key influence, is repetition and discipline. And that's what he did, and that's what he talked about. He talked to look at the people he talked to.
Right.
Andrew Carnegie. I mean, he talked to the industry leaders of the time.
Right.
These people that were making, if you will, comparable dollars today, billions of dollars. Henry Ford.
Yep.
I mean, these people were huge industrialists, and he got a chance to talk to them and see, what do you do to make sure you say what you're going to do, it comes to fruition, and how do you do it? And they were able to tell him that. I mean, imagine learning, from, some of the industry leaders today. It would be amazing.
Yeah, and Tony Robbins just did his book where he did very similar to a modern-day Napoleon Hill, talking about, money, master the game. He said right away, people kind of said, well, how can you call money a game? So that's funny.
But he relates it to people in that way.
Right.
I mean, if you talk about it with him, it's always interesting to watch him get people to do what they think they can't. Mm-hmm. Okay? Fear is not an excuse.
Yep.
It needs to be overcome, and he helps people to do that.
Yep.
And seeing things totally different. I saw him one time, a guy that wanted to lose weight, and he talked about a great cheesy piece of pizza with mushrooms and all that. And then he started to twist that a little bit. Now look at all that grease that's dropping from it. Now look at that. And I mean, by the time he was done, I was like, I don't want to touch that. And it was that perspective that he helps people to envision in their mind so that they change their action. And we want to do that for ourselves.
Yeah.
That's not easy by any means. Yeah. And it's important to be able to do that. So many times people, they set a goal and they never accomplish it, but they got to get off the couch. Mm-hmm. If you shoot for the moon and get halfway there, you're doing better than 90% of the people that are out.
Less than 3% of the population has written down goals, right, Bob?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to start there.
Just write them down. You're ahead of 97% of the people out there.
Right? You just write it down and then actually because that's why I say if you take one action every day towards your goal, then at the end of the year, that's 365 steps that you did. Right. And then you can look back and say, like, oh my gosh, look what I accomplished. It seems like it happened overnight, but it really didn't, because you did one thing every single day.
Yeah.
And you mentioned
absolutely.
Reading. I mean, think about that. Okay, read one book every 30 days. That's 12 books a year. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Yep.
You're already ahead of the curve, because 90% of the people that come out of school don't read another book after school.
Yeah.
I know.
Why?
Going back to the Barnes & Noble, it was kind of funny. I had a date with a guy, this was a long time ago back in Nebraska, and I was like, meet me at, I think it was Borders at the time. And I was running late for whatever reason. I was like, hey, I'm going to be 30 minutes late. He's like, well, what am I going to do? Like, you're in a bookstore.
Oh, my goodness.
Like, you don't know what to do for 30 minutes in a bookstore? I mean, at least grab a magazine if you don't want to get a book out. Yeah. And I was like, I don't think this is going to work out.
And that's when you wrote the Dating Jungle book, right?
Exactly. Well, that was actually after divorce. But
After, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Let's talk about some of the books that you have written, and I know we had some show notes on one of the books. And you had the one book that outsold, was it John Grisham?
Yep, John Grisham.
That's really cool.
So we have almost 40 titles to date. We have 9 Amazon bestsellers, and ours are all nonfiction business books. So it's everything from, my first series was The Dating Jungle.
Yep.
How to actually find healthy relationships, avoid the negative toxic relationships, and that's really with dating, family, even business partners.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. Stuff like that. And then my second series of books is, how to write and publish your own book, make it a bestseller, how to write a book in 4 weeks, which, once again, being consistent. Like an industry standard book is 20,000 words. If you sit down and write 715 words a day for 28 days, you have a little over 20,000 words. Not that hard.
Beautiful. Love it. And you're also helping us with ours. So really excited about that. We're weeks away from releasing our second book, and we also have our Consumer Advocate Playbook that's on Amazon right now as well. And so I'm really excited about the second book coming out. Maybe we'll give a little hint of that coming up, and also hear more from Bob Brumm, author, speaker, encouragement engineer. And, a lot of good things happening around the show. We're real excited about the growth. We're experiencing explosive growth here with the show. And stay with us. We're also going to touch on Tampa teacher heading to the Olympics for the 6th time. So more from our experts in studio. Real Estate Quarterback Show, realestateradio.tampa.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, Real Estate Quarterback Show. This segment is brought to you by Hula Bay, the official restaurant partner of the Real Estate Quarterback Show. Love the beautiful waterfront ambiance over at Hula Bay, waterfront dining. They got Duke's Surfer Bar down there as well, located just south of Gandy on the west side of West Shore down there in South Tampa. Go say hello to Mike Finnegan, the manager. Let him know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you for a free water with lemon. He's going to take care of you down there. 8203 U.S. Highway 301 South here in Riverview. Great listing here. Commercial property for sale. $650,000 for a 1,900 square foot building right on the corner of 8203 U.S. Highway 301 South in Riverview, close to the Yalafire River. Commercial property, great corner location. Over 25 spaces there for parking. 25 to 30 spaces for parking. Great commercial buy, and get into the real estate game out there. Business owners out there, great time to buy. Get out of that lease that you're potentially in, and open up a bricks and mortar location if you need it. And before the break, we talked about Tampa teacher heading to the Olympics for the 6th time. And so it says when 48-year-old Emil Milev talks to his students at BT Washington Elementary School about Tampa, about never giving up on their dreams. He's not just reiterating a cliche. He's living it. The physical education teacher knows what it's like to work countless hours to reach a goal. This summer, he's headed to the Olympics for the 6th time. He is a shooter, and it says that most as students don't understand the sport. Most of them only think about mainstream sports like football or basketball. But he grew up in 2004 when he was ready to give up, when he started shooting and built a life for his family, moved to Florida following his coach and his coach talked to him about going back into the range, and now he's heading to Rio for the 6th time to be 25 millimeter rapid fire pistol men's event. So pretty cool event there. Would shout out to our partner we just brought on. He was on the show last week, Kevin Wild, over at Florida Firearms Academy, educating our listeners about firearms and concealed permits and things of that way, ways that you can protect your family, and dispelling some of the myths out there about the AR-15s and some of the guns out there. But so we're back here in studio, live from iHeartRadio, beautiful South Tampa here, and we're talking with Tara Richter and Bob Brumm here in studio. And let's see, Bob, let's get your offer in. I know you had an offer today for our listeners out there.
Yeah, what I wanted to do is give the listeners an offer that since it's July, it's usually a slow month in the speaking industry. If you want to have a group that needs encouragement, whether it's a corporate organization, civic organization, or a school, or whether it's high school, middle school, collegiate organization, I'd like to offer a presentation, 30% off my regular fee if you book me during the month of July.
Very cool.
So feel free to give me a call at my website. It's got all my contact information and reviews at bobbrumm.com.
bobbrumm.com. Reach out. Bob Brumm is going to offer 30% off of his normal speaking fee.
Yes.
Very cool. And it's BOBBRUM.
2 M's.
2 M's, bobbrumm.com. And you can also check out our website as well at realestateradiotampa.com. You'll see his card listed there as well under the expert contributors tab. But yeah, so this guy, with his goals, the Olympics, going back to the Olympics for the 6th time, that's the guy that's taking his goals seriously as well.
Oh, definitely. And the best part is he's not holding it into himself. He's sharing that. He's sharing that with the kids. He's sharing that with the people around him that, I built up a discipline to do this, and I'm going after my goal. And no matter what people say, I want to go after that goal. And that's the hardest part for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Is we're going to hear the naysayers.
Yep.
And they could be the loudest voice in your head. You got to tune that down. You got to adjust that volume. If you're listening to the radio and you get static, you change the station so it's clear. Mm-hmm. You want to do that in your life as well with positive, encouraging words, positive, encouraging messages, whether that's from other people, whether it's from books, audiobooks, whether it's from something you're listening to. You want to have that positive encouragement, and that's what I think he is a person that's definitely living that, that's doing that, that's showing these kids that, hey, you know what, I'm disciplined enough to go after my goal and keep at it. Even though the naysayers may be saying something, I mean, he's 48 years old. That says something. He's got some discipline behind him to do this.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. And luckily, it's one of the sports where he can still participate at 48. I saw Phelps swimming in the trials too, though. The other day.
Did you see him? He was like 6 strokes ahead of everybody else.
Did he really?
Yeah. Oh, he was way out there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So stay focused on your goals out there, guys. We want you to win. We want to help you no matter what facing out there. We can help you win. And let's go ahead and talk here with Tara Richter. Richter Publishing helps you. She'll help you learn how to write your own book. She can actually even write it for you through a process that she does with the ghostwriting side. She also has some proven winners out there that have already been featured on some of the top lists out there, outsold John Grisham, and she's local here to Tampa Bay. And so let's leave the listeners out there with some nuggets of advice.
Yeah, we have a lot of free information. Obviously we're on your show a lot. We have a podcast, we have a YouTube channel. So there's a lot of free information that people can go out there and get, without even having to talk to me. They can subscribe to our YouTube page. They can sign up for a newsletter that we send out information, in the books we publish on my website, which is richterpublishing.com. And I always give out free 30-minute phone consultations. Cool. So anybody can go to my website. They can fill out a little survey, and they can call me. Well, actually, I call them at their scheduled time, which is really cool. It's like a virtual secretary that you just go in, schedule whatever time works for you. I call them. And within 30 minutes, we can chat, and I can figure out, A, if we're a good fit together, B, if their story sounds like something interesting, or, maybe if there's a better route for them. Because obviously, we don't mesh with every author that's out there. Right. Because we do specialize in nonfiction business books. We do not do children's. Okay. I get a lot of people coming to me for kids' books, but we do not do that. So.
You don't want to go there.
I don't. I'm not really passionate about it.
Yeah.
I don't have any children myself.
Yep.
So I'm not involved in the cartoons every day. So, I'm passionate about business. I have my own business. That's what I know.
Yep.
I live, I breathe it.
That's right.
My business is my baby.
Yep.
So that's what I'm passionate about. I tried for a little bit and I was like, no, I can't do it if I'm not into it. So
yeah, no, that makes sense. These days you have specializations in almost every industry. You've got, for the real estate side, for example, I'm focused on the listing side of the transactions, helping sellers profit more, helping them get maximum exposure through those different processes. And, then you have the buyer side of the, so you find more and more, Bob, businesses are focusing on specializations, even athletes. I know you've got some kids coming up, some athletes, they're focusing on one sport in many cases.
Yeah, and it's interesting when I talk to a lot of kids, they say, oh, yeah, I want to do this, I want to do that, and they're into 3 or 4 sports.
Right.
Okay, well, wait a second. You got to narrow that down because colleges, if you want to go to get a collegiate scholarship for any sport, it's going to be on one sport.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yep.
There are dual sport kids, but you're going to be focused. Your time is going to be severely limited by the amount of practice you have to do and what it takes to do that sport. So that's a good point there. You got to focus, narrow down and focus. Yeah,
and the coaches they'll let the superstars do it, but that's an anomaly whenever you have a chance to be a dual sport type athlete. Charlie Ward comes to mind, some of these different types of athletes back in the day. But, and that's a good point, too, in business is figure out, even if you are an employee somewhere, treat your job as if you are self-employed in that. Ask the boss for more responsibility. Go back to him, and then that's a way that you can continually upgrade you're continually upgrading your knowledge, your skills, your abilities, and now you're able to, live a better life. You're going to have more disposable income, potentially free time, and then if you do have a will to go out on your own and become self-employed, then that's a big thing. Tara, you're obviously self-employed. I'm self-employed. Bob, same. This is something that there's pros and cons with being self-employed too.
Because then sometimes, you work 24/7. Like I tried to take a vacation in December because I thought, hey, December will be downtime. No, I go to Hawaii for 10 days and my phone is ringing off the hook and it's a 5-hour time difference.
Yeah.
So it's like 3 a.m. like Hawaii time. And I'm just like, oh, wow. I really thought everybody would be like chilling out. No.
Yeah.
So sometimes, you have to do it. But they always say the entrepreneurial will work like 120 hours a week versus for themselves versus 40 hours a week for someone else.
Yeah.
Because then, you're building your legacy, you're investing in yourself.
Yep.
And then there's no limit to how much money you can make. When you work 9 to 5, you might get some overtime, but really there's kind of a cap and a limit. But when you work for yourself, you get the more people you hire, the more, like for me, for example, the more authors I take on, the more books we want to tackle, the more money I can pull in. So.
Yep. Awesome. Love it. Yeah, absolutely. And that's there's so many reasons why you want to look at being self-employed and it's the self, whenever you're doing it for yourself, there's that satisfaction that comes along with it and those types of things that you're looking at. And, love speaking to Bob. That's something we're going to be, doing some joint venture stuff on and
looking forward to it.
helping our listeners out there. That's our goal every day of the week with this show is to help you win no matter what you're facing. Consumer advocate advice, things to do, things to avoid, help you avoid all that commission-based advice out there, make you more street smart. And go against the nonsense in the mainstream media that we were kind of talking about earlier, the nonsense media and then sensationalizing all these different stories, talking about Kardashians and all the stuff that does not matter to you. It's not going to help you live a better life, and, it's not going to help you win. So I want to thank Tara Richter, Richter Publishing, for coming in today. I want to thank Bob Brumm as well, the Positive Perspective, speaker, author, encouragement engineer, and, of course, all of our listeners out there. Thanks so much for checking us out. Check out our iTunes podcast, YouTube videos as well. And please go out there and consider making a random act of kindness. We'll see you next time, same time and place.